Hi guys, it is our turn to explain you the next style that is persuasive essay. But before we go deeper through the explanation, I want to clarify the meaning of persuasion, since we consider it is important to understand what that means. So, persuasion is a symbolic process in which communicators try to convince other people to change their attitudes or behaviors regarding an issue through the transmission of a message in an atmosphere of free choice. In that definition, we must highlight the word to convince. Why? To convince is our key word to write a persuasive essay, as we need to focus on a good argument to change others' ideas. People can change others' ideas by speaking, but through writing is kind of challenging. Persuasion has three basic types. The first one is ethos. It is linked with the morality and ethics. Here, the writer or speaker convinces their audience of their goodwill and present themselves as trustworthy. So the audience needs to understand his intention and his strong understanding of the subject. Logos, as the second one, means that comes of logic. Therefore, writers use logic, reasoning, and rationality to convince audiences of their perspectives. Pathos, as the third one, it invokes and appeals to the emotions of the audience as it presents arguments without using logic or reasoning, in contrast with logos. Love, fear, empathy, and anger are strong factors that some writers use to influence the emotions of their audience. So, think about this question. Who uses persuasion? Persuasion is commonly used by religious leaders, consumers, children, parents, politicians, salespeople, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, doctors, police, wives, husbands, and much more. Persuasion has its function. Persuasion is the most common literary technique. We not only find it in literature, but also in political speeches, conferences, courtrooms, and advertisements. Through this style, writers can express their own feelings and opinions by appealing to the audience emotionally and rationally. Persuasive writing can show us that we can change people's thoughts and make people feel what the writer feels. Now that we have clarified the meaning of persuasion and you have a better idea of it, it is time to continue with the explanation of persuasive writing.
What is persuasive writing? Persuasive writing is a written form of an oral debate and can be a fun and interesting style of writing for students. Persuasive writing is used to convince or persuade a reader that the writer's opinion of a topic or cause is correct. When writing persuasive essays, students need to be well versed in word selection, framing logical arguments, and creating a strong, cohesive closing argument. What is a persuasive paragraph? A persuasive paragraph tries to convince the reader that a particular point of view is worthy of consideration. It wants you to consider both sides of an issue, but it reveals a bias in favor of one side over another. Now, what is a persuasive essay? A persuasive essay, also known as an argumentative essay, is a piece of academic writing where you use logic and reason to show that your point of view is more legitimate than any other. You must expose clear arguments and support them by convincing facts and logical reasons. As it was mentioned before, persuasive essay is used to expose and convince people about a certain topic or topics. In some shops, restaurants, and small businesses, sellers try to convince or persuade people to buy their products. They use a persuasive speech in order to expose their product, and then they try to persuade for you to become a buyer. When we write a persuasive essay, we need to pay carefully attention to the vocabulary we use because our purpose is to convince others about something specific. For students, persuasive writing can be a wonderful means of expressing their views about a subject or something in specific for them. It is a way to tap into what students are passionate about, writing persuasive essays.
Guys, in this step, we are going to know how to write a persuasive essay. So let's start with this. Writing a persuasive essay is like being a lawyer arguing a case before a jury. The writers take a stand on an issue either for or against and build the strongest possible argument to win over the reader. In a persuasive essay, it is the writer's job to convince the reader to accept a particular point of view or take a specific action. Persuasive essays require good research, awareness of the reader biases, and a solid understanding of both sides of the issue. A good persuasive essay demonstrates not only why the writer's opinion is correct, but also why the opposing view is incorrect. Persuasive writing is a fixture of modern life, found in advertising, newspaper editorials, blogs, and political speeches. So let's talk about the 5 steps writing process of persuasive essays. Number one, pre-writing for the persuasive essay. The pre-writing phase of writing a persuasive essay is extremely important. During this phase, students should plan every aspect of the essay. Choose a position, understand the audience, do the research, identify the most convincing evidence, organizing the persuasive essay, outline and structure. Persuasive essay outlined, introductory paragraph, body paragraph, opposing view paragraph, concluding paragraph. Number two, drafting the persuasive essay. When writing the initial draft of a persuasive essay, consider the following suggestions. The introductory paragraph should have a strong hook that grabs the reader's attention. Open with an unusual factor or statistics. A question or quotation or an emphatic statement, for example, driving while taking on a cell phone, even hands free, is the equivalent of driving drunk. The thesis statement should leave no doubt about the writer's position. Each body paragraph should cover a separate point, and the sentences of each paragraph should offer strong evidence in the form of facts, statistics, quotes from experts, and real life examples. The concluding paragraph should summarize the most important evidence and encourage the reader to adopt the position or take action. Number three, revising the persuasive essay. In the revision phase, students review, modify, and reorganize their work with the goal of making it the best it can be. Keep this consideration in mind. Does the essay present a firm position on the issue supported by relevant facts, statistics, quotes, and examples? Does the essay open an effective hook that intrigues readers and keeps them reading? Does each paragraph offer compelling evidence focused on a single supporting point? Well, number four, editing the persuasive essay. Next, proofread and correct errors in grammar and mechanics and edit to improve style and clarity. And number five, publishing the persuasive essay. Sharing a persuasive essay with the rest of the class or with family and friends can be both exciting and intimidating. Learn from the experience and use the feedback to make the next essay even better.
This is the essay's outline. The title is Tourism in El Salvador, a Magical Trip. First is the introduction, where there is the thesis statement, which is El Salvador has many incredible touristic places to visit without having to leave the country. The second part is the body. There are three main ideas and other two ideas that we have to explain in the essay, like this. Letter A is the first main idea here, which is to travel to another country is too expensive, considering that most of jobs in El Salvador are not well paid. A1 is another idea, which is Salvadorans receive a low payment, and A2 is the other idea, which is there are other bills to be paid. Both have to be explained in the essay so that readers see that what we are writing is true, as it is a persuasive essay, right? Letter B. Prices to travel to European countries are approximately $300 to $400, including basic travel needs. B1. A trip could be cheap if it includes basic needs such as airfare, food, hotel, and some tourist sites. B2. Salvadorans cannot spend a lot of money to travel around the world. And the third main idea is letter C. There are many people who argue that traveling in the interior of the country can offer innumerable fascinating experiences, as if they were traveling abroad. C1. Here people can find almost all the things they could see abroad. And C2. Population could enjoy in our country all they want.
The third general point is the conclusion. Here, we don't need to write anything because the final sentence is already in the paragraph and the whole conclusion of the topic is at the end of the essay. As a last point, we have bibliographical references. Here we need to add the links that we used to write our essay because there is the information on which we base our writing and thus obtain support for our ideas. Now I'm going to explain the entire essay. First of all, we have the brainstorming, in which we write down all the ideas that we have in mind about the topic that we want to develop. They can be whatever comes to your mind. As you can see here, there are many ideas. Then we have the selection of ideas. What happens here? In this section, we choose some of the ideas that we have already written previously. Logically, those that best fit the topic to be developed. As a second step, we have the elaboration of the paragraph, which will be the guide of our essay. Remember that the paragraph contains the topic sentence, which should be striking for the reader and also oriented to the style of the essay to work. In our case, it is persuasive. The topic sentence is this: El Salvador has many incredible touristic places to visit without having to leave the country. This paragraph contains 3 main sentences and 2 supporting details per each one, and lastly, the concluding sentence. After this, we have the essay outline that has already been explained, and it contains the structure of the paragraph in a more selected way that will help us to better elaborate our essay. As you can see, we find here the title, introduction, what is the thesis statement, the body. It has the 3 main sentences with its supporting details, the conclusion, and the bibliographical references. All of these steps give way to the essay. The essay contains the title, an introductory paragraph, 3 paragraphs that make up the body, and the concluding paragraph. In the essay, we have the title. It says, Tourism in El Salvador, a magical trip. In the introductory paragraph, we address a small outline that will introduce us to the topic to be explained. Remember that the last sentence of this paragraph has to be the topic sentence of our main paragraph, the previous one. This is called thesis statement. It says, El Salvador has many incredible touristic places to visit without having to leave the country. In the main paragraph, it has the function of a topic sentence, and in the essay, it has the function of thesis statement. Furthermore, we have the second paragraph with the first main sentence. To travel to another country is expensive, considering that most of jobs in El Salvador are not well paid. Writers develop it, adding more ideas to consolidate the main idea. Additionally, it gives way to the third paragraph with the second main sentence. Prices to travel to European countries, for example, are approximately $3,000 to $4,000, including basic travel needs. It has the same procedure as the previous one. Finally, the fourth paragraph with the third main sentence. There are many people who argue that traveling the interior of the country can offer innumerable fascinating experiences as if they were traveling abroad. The same thing, it is developed in the same way as the previous ones, but at the end, it gives way to the last paragraph, which is the conclusion, where we summarize what was intended to imply the topic in the essay. The concluding paragraph says, I will read it for you. Even though the little thumb of America is small compared to other countries, El Salvador is huge and rich in culture, history, and places which make this little country perfect to frequent and enjoy with or without company. The touristic places are not too costly to inspect, as well as our typical food, just like pupusas, chilate, tamales, riguas, and much more, which can be found in every department of the country. Hotels like Royal Cameron, Sheraton, Camino Real, and Siesta. No matter whether people are local or foreigners, there is no reason to afford an expensive time off to have fun with family or alone. In short, locals do not need to have a good budget in order to pay for their vacation. Our region is definitely rich in touristic places to visit and enjoy with our loved ones. So this paragraph says all the information, almost all the information that we developed through the whole essay.